about my city, a little town where I'm from, where everybody's southern raised, just as good as they come. Backwoods and mossy oak and mud holes. And back then we only ate what the farm grow. Man, I miss some days how we played on them dirt roads. And out of towners came with respect, cause they know we all close. Yeah, southern pride, toting gun folks. Welcome to my city, I-75 South, just north of Lava.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, backwoods running right. This is small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, Titletown, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We get it up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey.
It's nothing like our dirt roads, you can bet that, son. I'm from a city, by any means we gon' protect our guns. I hang with the rednecks and geekies. We get up in big trucks in the backwoods like Indians and teepees. This the home of the mighty, mighty Vikings, Wildcats, Blazers, Titletown license winners, pretty girls with country grammar. When I say about Austin, Georgia, I ain't talking about Atlanta. This a different type of city, where the woods are pretty, but get gritty, you hear me? What you know about that 229? You can find us on the Florida, Georgia line, where I reside.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, backwoods when we ride. This is small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, Titletown, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We get it up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey. Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, backwoods when we ride. This is small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, Titletown, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We get it up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey.
Hey, good evening and welcome to the 229. Hey, for all you folks sitting in the very, very back, turn it up. Turn up the volume because it's Thursday night. You guys know what time it is. It's time for the Viking Nation Live. I'm your host, Larry Godwin, and you see on the screen, if you want to take part in the conversation tonight, although I got to warn you guys up front, we've got a jam-packed show tonight. Fantastic guests, and I'll get to that in a couple of minutes. I want to thank you all for, there's so many things that you could be doing on a Thursday night, and the weather is getting nicer. It's getting a little bit warmer. You can stay out a little bit later, but I appreciate you guys dedicating this time slot on Thursday nights to spend a little bit of time with the 229, the Viking Nation, and so we can talk about all the fantastic things that are going into this town. Now, we're going to be doing, we relaunched a show last week after a few weeks off at the end of the year. So I hinted last week that we're going to be making some changes to the programming, the format, that kind of stuff. So we are in the process of rebranding ourselves to include more of all the great things that are happening in this community of ours, not just in the Lowndes community, but all over the greater Valdosta area and the Lowndes area. And so we're going to be including a lot more voices in what we're doing here. And we're actually starting that a little bit tonight, talking about, one of our guests is going to be on in a few minutes, talking about the great things he's doing with the Pop Warner organization and building the future of football in this area, not just for Lowndes football, Valdosta football, and other programs. But you guys know him. He's a household name, I think, in the greater Valdosta area, and that's James Gatlin. He was instrumental in starting the Pop Warner movement in South Georgia and in particular Valdosta with his Titletown Titans. So he's got some really, really exciting news to share with us tonight. So before we get to all that, I want to make sure I thank my sponsors, because without these guys, none of this stuff will be possible. I want to thank Doyer Deloach at Pepsi of Valdosta. You know, I met with Doyer this past week, and he has agreed to renew his sponsorship for another year. So thank you so much to Pepsi of Valdosta. You guys can see the brand new branding that we have on the screen. You know, I think it's right there in the lower right-hand corner, presented by Pepsi of Valdosta. They provided us with a beautiful logo. And so we're happy to promote their brands. And one of these brands on the screen is one of my favorites. That's Mountain Dew Spark. If you need a spark to your day or maybe your evening, this is a great drink. But they're introducing some new drinks, like a new drink, lemon lime flavored drink called Starry that I've already tried. It's fantastic. Guys, y'all need to go out and try this thing. So thank you so much to Pepsi of Valdosta for being our title sponsor for the year. We also want to thank White Oak Investment, Kyle Conger in particular, at 229-850-8848. Guys, the year's well underway. Tax season's here. You need to go ahead and start planning for 2023 and beyond. So if you don't have a financial planner, if you don't have a money guy, if you will, you need to call Kyle Conger at White Oak Investment, 229-850-8848. And you know by now that I wouldn't be recommending any of these sponsors if I don't use them personally. Kyle's done a fantastic job for me, and I'm sure he can do one for you as well. We want to thank longtime friend to the show, Stickman, Tim Neesmith. He's got a company called A Shade of Perfection. Does a great job with customizing shades and blinds for you. Listen, here's the bottom line. If you want the outside, the exterior of your home to be beautiful, one of the first things that people see are your window treatments. Tim is an expert at making your exterior of your home, the windows, the custom shades and blinds, beautiful. He's not a beautiful man, but he makes a beautiful product. Tim, calm down. I'm just kidding. No, seriously though, he does make a beautiful product, and he can help you out with A Shade of Perfection. We also want to thank these guys. These guys are the only AQH, I believe, certified headache medicine specialist in this area, and that's the Migraine and Spine Clinic of Valdosta. Most of you guys in the Lowndes community already know these guys. They're big sports fans in this area. Now, they happen to be Florida Gator fans as well, but that's okay. We'll forgive them, because tonight we're not talking about Florida versus Georgia and all that stuff. But if you need back pain treatment, if you need migraine treatment, these guys, Josh and Justin at the Migraine and Spine Clinic at Valdosta, can help you out. We want to thank Matthew Godwin at Verizon Wireless on Perimeter Road. Guys, if you need iPhones, Androids, accessories, small business accounts, give my buddy Matthew Godwin a call. Verizon Wireless on Perimeter Road. Couple of more sponsors. Freedom with Steve Nichols. He does a political talk show. Really, really good show. Gets your blood boiling sometimes. Sometimes I agree with him. Sometimes I don't. Had a pretty spirited debate with him on air this morning about the upcoming presidential election. So if that's your cup of tea, and it's not everybody's, but if that's your cup of tea, he's one of the best. Freedom with Steve Nichols can be seen every Monday through Friday. I need to change that placard. It's every Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 a.m. On his channel, Freedom with Steve Nichols. It can be seen on his website, Freedom Networks. That's with an X, freedomnetworks.com. Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 a.m. Our newest sponsor for the year is, let me tell you a little bit about this guy, Chandler Kudig. He's a longtime Lowndes guy, Lowndes graduate, played football for a little while at Lowndes, but he's on his own. He's grown up. He's become a fine young man, but he's got the entrepreneurial bug, and he started a pool service company called AquaWorks Pool Company. You see his number right here on the screen, 229-415-0752. Listen, I was actually talking to Chandler earlier today when he was out servicing our pool, and he wanted me to communicate with you guys. He listen to this. He says, so we were talking today, and he said that be sure to tell your viewers that they're running some special deals on pool cleaning going into the spring this time of year. Because listen, it's this time of year, you might have a little bit of algae growth, or the chlorine level may not be up to snuff. whatever your pool service needs are. Maybe your pump needs to be looked at a little bit and serviced. Chandler Kudik, Aqua Works Pool Company. Give him a call, 229-415-0752. He's a homegrown kid, made good. So let's do our part and support Chandler in his endeavor. Aqua Works Pool Company. So we want to thank all these sponsors of the Viking Nation. And listen, with that said, let me go ahead and introduce some of the topics that we'll be talking about tonight. As usual, we're going to be talking about, all things Lowndes, all things, well, not yet, but we'll be talking about Valdosta a lot more in the coming weeks as we start to rebrand the show to encompass more of our community, because that's what you guys asked for all through last year, right? You want more information, not just a small little niche. So we'll be talking about that. Our guest tonight, our Titletown Pop Warner football expansion guru, a guy named James Gatlin. We'll be also having a couple of call-in guests to the show. The first one's going to appear around 7:30, and his name is Reshon Benjamin, head coach of the Region Champ. Let me say that again. I know, James, you're watching in the background. You're a Valdosta guy, so I want to rub this in a little bit. The Region Champs in boys basketball. Reshon Benjamin will be calling in at 7:30. And not to be outdone, the Region Champs, the girls Lowndes basketball team head coach Antonia Tukes, she's going to be calling in about 7:45. So with that said, let me go ahead and bring in one of these Valdosta guys. James, you with me?
How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I thought you'd find that a little humorous there.
But congratulations, that's well deserving, boys and girls. So congratulations, Vikings.
Absolutely. There you go. Yeah, you kind of hesitated with the Vikings there. Kind of hard to get that word out of you, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll take it. So we're working on this, building relationships and that kind of stuff. And that's really why I wanted to have you on the show tonight, because one of our super fans, one of our Lowndes super fans, Chase Garnto, is a buddy of yours, and he's involved with Pop Warner as you are. And he was telling me a couple weeks, he says, you need to get James on the show so we can talk about the future of football in the community, because it seems like, James, that a lot of things are gravitating towards Pop Warner instead of just rec league football. Is that the case? And if so, why is that?
I think, well, actually, to be honest with you, like not just Pop Warner football, but remember the evolution of like travel baseball and just even travel basketball. So what's happening is kids and parents are seeing that kids are being offered scholarships at an early age.
Yeah.
So what's happening is you start playing more competitive competition by traveling and, getting on the road and just giving these kids an opportunity to be seen at an early age.
That's right. I got it, man. I got it. So, you said something very, very interesting, because I've heard a lot of coaches now. There seems to be a big emphasis now when we hire head coaches at our high schools, whether it's Lowndes, Valdosta, Cook, Berrien, and Colquitt. A lot of coaches now are talking about their prowess in getting kids to the next level, getting them college scholarships, because we're seeing an explosion of college scholarships all throughout South Georgia. I got to think that there's a big time emphasis on that, and you guys play a big role in that. How do you specifically prepare these players to, hone their skills and get them better?
Well, the biggest thing, just from me growing up here in Valdosta, and I played at the Parks and Rec, which back when we played, it was Pineville Youth Center. The farthest we went was like Tifton, Georgia, but the mental mindset at an early age is getting kids not only for on the football field, but with Pop Warner, it requires you to be, and you have to be sound in the classroom. And if you're not sound in the classroom, it'll put you on probation, or you can't be suspended. So it's developing an early age of telling you what you need to do in the classroom first before you step out on the football field. So that's the biggest plus. And I know me, I've been coaching ever since I was 19, and I'm almost afraid to say my age now. But when I first started coaching, it was more like, win championships. And then I'll see these kids later on in life, whereas they played football and they went through high school, but they couldn't go to college because mentally, as adults, we didn't prepare. We just,
Right.
Talked about Lowndes or Valdosta football, and we pretty much thought that was the end after high school. But now what I have seen, even with my boys, just mentally at an early age, preparing them to be academic eligible to get to clear the NCAA double house. I mean, that's the biggest thing.
Right.
That's what we mostly preach. And I always tell all of our parents, winning is really, really, really easy. It's just a mental mindset of you win.
Gotcha. Okay. So you started at, when did y'all start the Titletown Titans? You've been around for quite a while. So when did y'all start that organization?
It was 2012 when we started. Last year made our 10th year.
Now, have y'all always been a really, really good team? Or has it taken a little while to attract a lot of kids? Or how's your growth been throughout the years?
We always had good talent, even starting out. We had good talent, but we wasn't prepared for it. Like, you have to start in March, not technically actually hitting or playing football or anything, but just training these kids mentally and getting their bodies ready. So it took us about 3 years because the Moultrie teams, they started before us. And as you can see, a lot of people, when Rush Approach came along, and they was talking to like, Moultrie, they started at Pop Warner, and that was their biggest thing. Even some of those kids that's coming through now, they have a strong Pop Warner program over in that area. And the same thing with Lee County, they have a Pop Warner program. So now we're seeing these teams that are high school levels that's dominating. But I can promise you, most of these kids, they started on the Pop Warner level because it just took you out of a local atmosphere, and you played very competitive talent.
Gotcha. Okay, so you said something that probably got everybody's attention. Watching this program tonight, and that's the Colquitt County Packers. We've been scratching our heads for years. Even as they've had coaching changes, things like that, they seem to their football programs seem to be full of big kids, very athletic kids. So you're saying the big part of that is they've got a very, very strong Pop Warner program that's ingrained in their community.
Yes, sir. When we first got in, when I tell you those kids that we see on Friday nights, we had some strong, I thought was really good kids. We had came out of the Boys and Girls Club at this particular time, and I thought we could compete. But I tell you, about the fourth quarter, our kids were scared to get on the football field because those kids was different at an early age and just led over to the high school level.
Gotcha. Okay. So that gives us a lot of insight. So you've done well with the Titletown Titans, and I would imagine that because you've done well, it's created this demand out there. So you're only one team at different age levels, but still one team. So I would imagine that the demand has grown, and that's why you have the need to bring on new teams in this area. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes, sir. The expansion started even in our own organization. We used to just do 6U, 8U, 10U, and we'll do 12U once the middle school ball is completed. But last year we added single ages where we did 6U, 7U, 8. We didn't have no choice because we would have too many kids on that double age group. And then also Douglas, Pierce County, the Douglas area, they added Pop Warner in their area. And it's just once parents see what's actually going on, not just locally. Sometimes we think our kids are good local, but when you start comparing these kids on the national level, it will make you start preparing at an early age.
Gotcha. Okay. So you're getting more kids involved. Tell me about the coaches. I mean, we've all been, if you've ever played rec league football, let's be honest, sometimes it's hit and miss. Sometimes you get good coaches, sometimes not so good coaches. So sometimes it's just dads that want to be part of the program, but their forte may not be football coaches. But so Pop Warner does things a little bit differently with your coaches. How does the league prepare its coaches?
All of our coaches has to be USA Heads Up certified, and also they have to take a Pop Warner's coaching clinic. And then also backgrounds, of course, and that's the biggest thing. You have to be trained. I mean, and I think that comes with it's just me having kids that don't play. I always told myself, like, I wouldn't want to just put my kid on any team, at least have some background experience or at least go to some training because at the end of the day, the kids are gonna need that feedback. And
Absolutely, man.
I just hate to see, like, kids standing around or picking in grass. Like, parents don't sign up for that. They sign up to get their kid better. So, and that's what I overemphasize in our coaching. I'm like, if you want to be a daddy ball coach, I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
We don't have time for that because we're gonna hurt the youth.
That's right. That's right, man. That's good stuff. Good stuff. So, how many teams have y'all added? How many new teams have y'all added for this upcoming season?
This upcoming, we have 2 new associations. So it would probably total out of adding, it'll be 9 teams throughout those associations.
Gotcha. Okay. So March is when you guys usually start up your, you kind of explained it a while ago, but what do you actually do? Because the season's not until the fall. So what do you do when you start in March going leading up to the season?
Well, we're actually now, some of our guys, we have, it's another organization that it's called 229 Elite, where they do 7-on-7.
Okay.
And honestly speaking, we have guys such as 8U doing 7-on-7. So kids are getting trained how to throw a football and catch at 8 years old. And they actually go to tournaments in Orlando. So in the off season, we just do a lot of off season 7-on-7 drills. In April, we'll start getting more with our linemen, just getting them more in condition and getting them in shape instead of just staying home playing video games.
Gotcha. Now, what kind of kids are you looking for to join the Pop Warner organization? Is it any kid or is it elite football play? What are you looking for?
That's been the rumor over the years that we only look for elite kids. But I can promise you, if you sign your kid up right now, we want your kid. I don't care.
Okay.
Never played football. Don't know what a football look like. Because at the end of the day, that's our job as coaches to get those kids prepared. So to answer that question, we don't, in Pop Warner, there's no trials. That's throughout the whole national organizations. There's no such thing as a trial. So if you sign your kid up and you willing to sacrifice, come to practice, hard work in the classroom, then we want your kid.
I got you. So you don't have to start out at the elite levels, what you're saying. So whatever kid signs up, by the time they go through your program, they're going to be a better football player and probably a better kid too.
Exactly. And we have seen that over the years, and I can honestly vouch for the Valdosta side. Even the kids on the D1 level, we have had in the last 3-4 years, not just D1, but just going to college altogether. Like we have seen it even on the Lowndes. I know sometimes we get stereotyped like we're just a Valdosta program,
right?
But majority of the kids are the names like the Betchers, and they came through Pop Warner. And I hate to call kids names, but the list can go on with a lot of the county kids. Matter of fact, we was talking about a year ago, we probably had more kids from the Lowndes side that go off to college coming through Pop Warner than Valdosta. But a lot of people just think that we're just a Valdosta program.
I got you. Well, guys, if you're just joining us now, we've got James Gatlin on the screen with us talking about the expansion of the Pop Warner Football League in this area. James, how many total programs do y'all have? How many total teams, I should say?
We have 3 right now for when I say organizations, within that organization, you have 4 teams. So we have a total of 12 teams with 3 organizations, but we have a question mark. There's maybe one more organization joining into our league this year.
Gotcha. Okay. So guys, if you're just joining us, James Gatlin with Pop Warner Football Organization. He can't promise to get your kid a college scholarship by going through their organization, but what he can assure you is if you sign your kid up, they're going to turn them into better football players, no matter what level they start out. And that's really all you can ask for.
Right. And that's our goal. We tell all of our kids, the chances of you going to the NFL, and I try to be as honest as I possibly can. It's slim to none, but
yeah,
chance of you being a father is almost 100%. So we're going to prepare you to be a man first. And the football part, if you become a man, football is really easy.
Yeah. James, where do y'all practice and where do you play your games?
We practice at the old Valdosta High School. And we play our games. Last year we played at JL Newbern, and we played at Baseball High Stadium.
I got you. Listen, man, we gotta talk to Adam Carter about getting some games over there at Lowndes Stadium, because we got all these Lowndes players going over to the Valdosta stadiums and all.
Now
Y'all can't be
play
recruiting our players.
We played a playoff game. We did play a playoff game at the Concrete Palace this past season, and that was the first time since. Because believe it or not, I have reached out, but I don't know. I get the stereotype. I'm just a Valdosta guy, but I have reached out.
All right.
So
Well, listen, let's try again, because I'm going to talk to Adam Carter. Candace Marie, your boys went through the program. Let's all talk to Adam Carter and get some games there at Martin Stadium.
Carter was Candace's son Carter. I mean, to see little Carter, I call him little. Well, he's big Carter now, but I mean, he has worked. He started out at 6 years old, and you look at him now. The kid has been battle tested. So to see him on the field on a Friday night as a sophomore, it didn't shock me.
That's right. That's right. So, James, before we let you go, if people are interested in signing their kids up for your organization for Pop Warner football, who do they need to get in touch with? How do they contact you?
As far as there's, and it'd be robbery if I don't mention the rest of the teams. Okay. If they want to contact the Titletown Titans, my cell number is 229-560-2362. Now, Josh Harvey Clemens, along with Mario Bowe, they have started the South Georgia Crimson. You can get in touch with them. And I don't want to give their number out, but if you know Josh Harvey Clemens, he has started with an organization as well. Those are the two organizations right now in Valdosta. The other group is out of Douglas, Georgia.
Okay, guys. So last thing is, you see the number right there on the screen. If you want to get in touch with James and get some more information about Pop Warner, if you want to play for Josh Harvey Clemens' team, I'm sure James can put you in touch with Josh. So if you have an interest in signing your kids up for Pop Warner football, give James a call, 229-560-2362. The number's right there on your screen. So, James, with that said, man, thank you so much for appearing on the program tonight. And maybe as the season goes along, the off-season workout comes along, maybe every once in a while you can come up back on the show and just give us a progress on how many kids are signing up, what kind of difference you guys are making in kids' lives.
Yes, sir. And I definitely appreciate you giving us the opportunity to come on. And like you say, if any parents want to become a part of Pop Warner, and we're not trying to hurt the local Valdosta Parks and Rec, I believe it's enough kids for everyone. It's just, I do believe in the Pop Warner and what it's doing in kids, and I can see it on Friday nights, what it has done in this local area. Absolutely, man.
Well, James Gatlin with Pop Warner Football. And listen, man, this show is called the Viking Nation. Yes, so before we let you go, you got to say it one time. Just say it. Say, go Vikings.
I'm going to show you something right now. Hold on. I'm in my car on the phone, but look what happened on the Thursday night. You can see that?
What's that? Is that a stadium?
Those are kids practicing at the old high school.
Look at you, man.
so listen. I'll just say, you got Marlon Evans out there training some kids too now.
There you go. But, so we can't get you to say it. You know, the Wildcat's just too strong in you.
No, Barrett Wilkes, he beat me 3 years ago. I mean, 3 years in a row when I was going through. It's just hard to just say go Vikings. It's just.
Hey, listen, we just got you to say it right there.
Oh, man. I'll let you go, but I tell my son, which will be a senior this upcoming season, I said, the hurtful thing is you have to beat the Vikings. I said, my senior class, we started the curse. Y'all beat us 3 years in a row. Since then, it's been a challenge.
Hey, listen, that's one game, one time a year. It's all fun and games. It's fun to trash talk, but the rest of the year, 364 days a year, we are one community. And thank you so much for being on the program tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
All righty. Bye-bye.
That was a fun interview. I got to admit, I think that might've been the first time that I've met James Gatlin face to face. And I got to tell you guys, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with his football knowledge, his acumen, the way, he's very professional in promoting that program. So I'm looking forward to getting to know James a little bit more and talking about and promoting Pop Warner football a lot more often in our area. Yeah, Tierra Battle says, LG, you got to bring him on again. Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you so much for all you guys joining in tonight. We got some commenters on the White Oak Investment comment line. You've got Brian Spray, David Griffith, Kenneth Hurst. That reminds me, it's almost 7:30, so we're expecting Reshon Benjamin to call in any time now. I forgot to plug my phone in, so but that's okay because he hadn't called yet. So anyway, listen, if you guys, I sent him an email earlier today just to remind him. But if you guys have Coach Benjamin's cell phone number, somebody shoot Coach Benjamin and Coach Tukes a text to remind them to call in. Because it's 7:30 and I'm expecting him to call in now. So anyway, listen, I want to thank James Gatlin again for that fantastic interview. It really was. I really enjoyed talking to him about the Titletown, not just Titletown, but the Pop Warner organization. So anyway, guys, while we wait for Coach Benjamin to call in, let's do a quick around the nation. Some things that are happening in the Lowndes athletic community. First of all, Lowndes baseball is up and running. They're off to a not a stellar start, but it's the non-region schedule, and they're getting some much needed experience in. So they're off to a 3-2 start. Their next game is, I believe, tomorrow night, I think, and that's against Jesuit High School out of Tampa, Florida. I think that's a home game. Lowndes soccer. The boys are off to a 3-5 start. I'm sure they're going to get that turned around. Usually have a pretty good program out there. The girls soccer team is off to a 3-2-1 start. And listen, I got to brag on Lowndes wrestling. I mean, there are some fantastic wrestlers in our wrestling program. And in the last probably 4 to 5 years, that program is getting better and better and better. And so I'm going to try to reach out to the Lowndes wrestling coach and have Coach Bill on to talk about his wrestlers, because we had 3 recently to place in the traditional state tournament. And those are, in the 126-pound class, that's Ethan McCullough. He's a senior, placed 3rd. 132-pound class, Cole McCullough. He's a senior. He placed 5th. And the big man, Grant Lasky, I'm sorry. Yeah. No, is he a junior? I think Grant's a junior. I think. And he has placed 3rd in the state at 285 pounds. Let's go to the phone. Hey, caller, welcome to the Viking Nation Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mr. Godwin, it's Coach Benjamin, Lowndes High School.
Listen, Coach Benjamin, I recognize your bass voice anywhere. If this basketball stuff doesn't work out, I think you've got a future in radio.
Well, make room for me. I love to join you sometime.
There you go. But listen, we don't have to talk about a future for you in radio, because you got the Lowndes basketball program rocking and rolling now. Congratulations, first of all, on an outstanding year. You finished the year 17-11, but very tough schedule, and you won the region. Is this the back-to-back region championships, right?
Yes, sir. That is correct. Yes, sir.
Fantastic, man. Well, now, unfortunately, you fell in the first round of the playoffs to Pebblebrook, but from what I understand, I wasn't there, and I apologize for that. From what I understand, you guys were in it to the very end. You lost that game 50-48 on like a last-second layup.
Yeah. Yes, sir. That's exactly what happened. And first and foremost, man, I just want to take the time to congratulate all the guys that came and worked hard all season long, especially my seniors. We put in a lot of hard work throughout the off season and the duration of the regular season. And you talked about how rigorous the schedule was for this season. Everything that we did this season was in preparation for the postseason.
Absolutely.
A lot of the major tournaments we went to over Christmas break, going up to Berkmar first game of the season, even some of the local teams we played, like every game was not a gimme game. We didn't have any gimme games this year. We had to work for each and every last game we won. So the guys came out and they worked hard, and to fall short like that at the end, I was just proud of the fact that, we went in the locker room down 9 at halftime, and we just fought and scraped and kicked and got back into the game and actually took the lead by like 7 right there at the end of the third quarter and came up short, but I feel like as a program, I feel like as a program, though, this is a process. What we're building is a very unique process.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, and this is going to sound cliche, but it doesn't happen overnight.
Okay.
But I can tell, even losing that game the way we did last night, the direction we're going in, we're still taking the right steps.
Well, Coach, you said a unique process. What did you mean by that?
Well, where we've been as a basketball program, if we just be honest, if you look at the past 5 or 6 years in terms of what Lowndes basketball has been, this is not a position that this program has always been in. Winning region championships and hosting playoff games, and I can remember the days. And I had a conversation with my parents before the season started this year, and I let them know that the days of the kids showing up in October and then going home late January, early February, and just calling it a season, those days are over with. Basketball is not only a season anymore, it's a way of life. And so teaching the young men what that process looks like, even now, although the season is over with, man, next week, we're right back at it in the weight room. And I have my younger guys, they'll start getting ready for AAU. And so now, we're learning what it actually takes to not only be a good basketball team, but to be a relevant basketball team throughout the state of Georgia. It takes a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach, I was just looking back on your schedules because something you said kind of struck me. You took over the program in the 2019 season, and it was kind of rough to begin with, but here we are a couple years later with back-to-back region titles, and now you're getting closer to challenging these Metro Atlanta basketball teams, which let's be honest, they've always been very, very strong basketball programs up there. But your program is getting closer and closer to toppling some of those teams up there. So, in the first couple of seasons, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. So what did you say to the parents and the kids to get them focused and bought in to trust you with stay the course? We're going to get there. But you had to go through the fire to get to the throne. So what did you do to convince them to stick around?
Honestly, man, I think it wasn't more about what I said. It was more about what I did.
Okay.
I think, when I came in, having a lot of thoughts and a lot of feelings around what I wanted the program to be. An old wise coach told me once, he said, Coach, everything that you want to happen, it probably won't happen in your first year. And so although I heard it, I took it as a grain of salt, but man, I just put my head down and went to work. And I believe the kids and the parents saw that, and it was more about that allowed them to attach to whatever I was saying.
Wow.
And so what I mean by that, just to give you specifics, a lot of the kids would meet me up at the gym at 6 a.m., whether it was getting shots up, whether it was working on ball handling. Now, this is outside of any practice or any kind of organized team function. We would meet up at 6 a.m. and work on an individual game. Earlier this year, the guys ran cross country, just to work on stamina and conditioning. And then, as we talked about last season, the weight training component. And so this year was the first group that we didn't have to struggle to get them to understand the importance of lifting weights. They kind of saw the group from last year and saw the benefits of what they did in the weight room and just grabbed a hold of what we were doing.
I got you.
And so, as a leader, I've always felt like you have to model what you expect.
Gotcha.
You have to be the model of that. So everything that they did, I jumped in and joined them.
Wow. Okay.
So now my word Yeah, so now my words are more effective, and they understand I'm not just talking. This is just as important to you as it is to me.
Leading by example, Coach. I love it. Listen, you mentioned the kids a while ago. Let's talk about some of the kids that really stood out this year.
Yeah.
You had a number of seniors. You had some players that really stepped up. Talk about some of those kids.
Man, let me start with DeMarcus Black. DeMarcus Black became a household name and a fan favorite last year because of his leaping ability.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, as a junior last year, he was our leading scorer. And you remember how good of a team we had last year.
That's right.
So for him to be amongst all of those guys and to be a leading scorer last year and then to come back this year and, be our leader, all-around leader, a lot was expected out of him. But I'm super proud of just the way he took on the challenge. He led us with 15 points per game. He was the Region 178 Region Player of the Year. And he probably had at least one highlight dunk. Now, I say at least because there were games, there were 3 or 4. But he had at least one highlight dunk per game. Mr. Gatlin, when we get off the phone tonight, I'm going to send you a play that he had last night against Pebblebrook's 6'7" Dayton commit. He dunked all over and just everybody came to their feet. Coach had to call a timeout. It was, that was one of those moments where although you're in the game and you're coaching, you kind of can feel like, okay, this is the feeling that we want to produce for years to come at Lowndes High School. So,
Coach, I would imagine you made that other opposing coach. He probably made that coach pretty nervous, and I can see why. I mean, you guys almost pulled off the upset.
Yeah, he was. But again, DeMarcus Black, much credit to him. He has been a staple in our program for the last 3 or 4 years, and he played really good basketball this year. Another kid as a senior, Landon New.
Okay.
Now, Landon New didn't see much time last year because he had so many guys in front of him. But we kind of threw him into the fire this year, and he came out as pure gold. Biggest game he had this season against Valdosta. Back against the wall. Valdosta beat us the first time. We went over there and played him the second time. Landon New finishes with 21 points and 10 rebounds. And I mean, just puts on a heroic performance. It's very similar to Michael Jordan flu game, because maybe an hour before game time, my assistant coaches are telling me that he's got like a stomach issue. Like, he don't know if he can go. And so I pulled him to the side and said, "Can you play?" And he said, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I'll be able to play." And he goes out and he scores 21 points and grabs 10 rebounds. Not to mention, he battled knee issues the whole season. Back and forth with doctors, back and forth with the trainers. Nobody could really staple down what was actually wrong with his knees. But he was just dealing with knee pain all season. And, he wanted to make sure he could play. So we just kind of facilitated his workouts in the weight room and facilitated how much he could really do in practice. And the kid battled, man. So I'm super proud of him. Sophomore Sam Shoptaw, junior Keyshawn Arthur, senior Romulus Khalil, junior Reuben Compton, junior Jeremiah Henderson transferred in from Miami. The list goes on and on. Every guy played an important role for us this season, and I'm just super proud of how we turned out.
Absolutely, Coach. You mentioned a number of seniors, but you mentioned some juniors as well. So, very quickly, what kind of team are you expecting returning for next year?
We expect to be strong again next year. Talking about some of these sophomores and juniors who are going to step into some bigger roles. And then we had a fabulous 9th grade group this past season. So the cupboard won't be bare for the next few years. I suspect we'll be in contention for another region championship. And I actually talked to one of Pebblebrook's assistant coaches today, and I told him, next year, let's get on the schedule. Let's make sure that we continue to have games like this because the program needs it.
Absolutely.
And so now, as we continue to play these type of games during the regular season, they have us poised and ready for the playoffs.
Absolutely. So, Coach, I'm going to let you go because we're expecting Coach Tukes to call in. But before you leave, I congratulated you on great season, winning back-to-back region championships. But I want to make sure our audience knows that Coach Reshon Benjamin is the Region 17A Boys Basketball Coach of the Year. Coach, you're doing good things, and I'm glad other programs are recognized that fact.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Much credit to the boys and all of the parents. It takes a village. You know, I'm the head coach and I get the credit, but I do not do this by myself. So much thank you to the supporters of the Lowndes basketball community.
Absolutely. Well, let's keep in touch, Coach, and hope you have a great off season and keep up the good work, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye. You too.
Hey, that's Coach Reshon Benjamin, the Lowndes boys basketball head coach. Great year. I mean, they really did. It stings, not kind of, but it does sting to fall in the playoffs, whether you're talking football, basketball, baseball, tennis, whatever. But we want to make sure that we congratulate Reshon Benjamin and that entire Lowndes boys basketball team for an outstanding season. Now, speaking of Lowndes basketball, I think we have Coach Antonia Tukes on the line. Coach Tukes, are you there?
Yes, sir. How are you tonight?
Coach, I am doing fantastic. And more importantly, I think you are doing fantastic as well because your team is continuing in the playoffs.
Yes, sir. We will continue our run this Saturday at 4:00 against Archer, the team that put us out last year. So it'll be a rematch against them at 4:00 at the Crimson Coliseum.
Yeah, Coach, when you said that, I got a little hint of you're kind of looking forward to this rematch.
Yes, I am. We are prepared. Our schedule this year prepared us for the tough game that we're going to face Saturday against them again.
Yeah.
We didn't have anybody on the schedule that was like an easy team to play. So before the season started, me and Coach Benjamin got together and say, hey, let's play some tough teams so that when we get to this point on our schedule, that we'll be able to already have saw this type of play and have the kids prepared for what they can expect from these teams from Atlanta, Georgia.
Coach, your team seems to be gelling at the end of the season. I'm just looking over the schedule, and the last 5 games, I mean, you won by some pretty healthy margins. Is it because your kids are healthy this time of year, or you see the fire in their eyes, or what is the difference between regular season and getting geared up for the playoffs?
Well, first of all, they are locked in. That's what we go by this year. That's our cliche, so to speak. We are locked in on every team that we play. The last 5 games, like you said, we won them by a huge margin. But I think we are clicking because it's not one person that's doing it. We are spreading the ball around, and everybody is actually all 5 starters can go off at any night. But we are spreading the ball around, so it's hard to scout us as a team because any one of our starters can go for 20 or more a night.
I got you. Coach, you have you've elevated this program. I think it's safe to say you've elevated this program to I think the next level. You're on the verge of having another 20-win season. How good does it feel to have a consistently winning program there at Lowndes High School?
Well, it takes hard work. And it takes the kids buying in.
Yeah. And,
when I first got here, like 5 years ago, I set the bar like, hey, a 20-win season is a good season. And if you're going to win 20 games, you're going to more than likely end up in a deep run in the playoffs. And you're going to have an opportunity to play against some high-profile players, such as Essence Coates from Valdosta, McDonald's All-American. So with that being said, they bought into what I was selling, and the last year team actually set the bar, and they took the baton and they're running with it this year and trying to get us past the Sweet 16 all the way to the Elite 8, which will be the game Saturday if we can get a win.
So that game is going to be Saturday at Lowndes High School, right?
Saturday at the Crimson Coliseum at 4:00 p.m. We need our 6-man in the gym.
Absolutely. Guys, y'all listening tonight, watching the program tonight. Make sure you spread the word. Lowndes girls basketball is still clicking. We've got another playoff game Saturday afternoon, 4:00 at the Crimson Coliseum. We need to pack this, make it a true home court advantage. Coach, let's talk about, we talked about the season that you've had. And first of all, congratulations on another region title. But that couldn't have been done without some fantastic players on your team. Let's talk about some of the kids that really, really stood out this year.
First of all, I'm going to have to mention Casey Demps. Casey Demps is a sophomore guard.
Okay.
That's 5'5", but she plays like she's 6'5". And she was nominated as the region defensive player of the year. But she goes, the way she put us on her shoulder and carried the team as being a 5'5" point guard. She's actually the face of the team. And then we have a senior guard, Faith Johnson, number 11, that's 1,000-point scorer. Then we have Otaipo Esembalu, power forward, that's 6'2", that signed with Longwood University. She would take care of the boards for us, rebounding the ball, blocking shots, scoring in the inside. And then we come back with a junior, Kamora Wade, that has really come into her own this year, offensively and defensively. And then our leading scorer, which is Ariana Thomas, just a sophomore guard, like about 5'7" sophomore guard, that's averaging 11.3 points a game. So it's pretty much spread around. But those kids, they play well together. And I think it all started, Mr. Garland, actually over the summer and over playing those tough teams over the summer. We played the number 1 team in Florida, Dr. Phillips. They won the championship last year. And we lost to them by like 6. We went up to Georgia, to Atlanta, to MLK, and we played Norcross High School, which is the state champion of Georgia. And we lost to them by 7 or 8 points. So telling them as we played those teams, we are right there. We are right here. So, and I think they kind of like bought into what I was trying to tell them. Like, we are just right here. And if we can get through Saturday's game, and I think that will build more confidence with our team, and we can make a run, a serious run for Lowndes High School.
Absolutely. Coach, you've done an outstanding job. There's no questioning that. It's basketball, unlike football where you just have one game a week. Basketball, you have multiple games a week. It's a long, grueling season. How do you keep your players so focused, not just to achieve a 20-game season, but how do you keep them focused to, go as far as you can go?
Well, first of all, just taking it one game at a time, because we know it's Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, and it's tough. Just like you're saying, you don't know who's going to get injured. You don't know how long they're going to take for them to get back. Like, we have a freshman out right now, 6'1" freshman that I'm going to need Saturday, but she got hurt in the Glen game, and she's not going to be back. So you got to go through rehab with Coach Piglo. Coach Piglo is a very important part.
Yeah.
Our athletic, keeping our kids healthy and giving them ice baths and so forth. Also, Mr. Garwin, I would like to also shout out our superintendent, Dr. Harrison. Him being at the game, that has motivated the players. Our principal, she's always at the game. That motivates our players. So when we see our Lowndes High School staff at the game, our teachers, our administrators, that keeps us motivated to definitely have a good product on the floor, and we want to play for them, so to speak. So that's a lot of stuff that goes on. We have a lot of support at Lowndes High School, and it's fun. It's fun for the kids, and it's fun for the coaches, and it's just a joy to coach there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Listen, it does take a lot of people. Coach, I often say to people all the time, to have a long range, sustainable winning program. It doesn't matter if it's football, basketball, you got to have 4 pillars in place. You got to have one really good coaching, and you and Coach Benjamin are outstanding coaches. You got to have Two, the second thing is good coachable players. You don't have to have elite players, but at least good coachable players. Then three, you got to have good community support. And then four, I think a lot of schools and programs miss this fourth part. And is you've got to have an administration that's got your back and it's all in. It sounds like you've got all those things in place.
Yes, sir. There are the support that we have is second to none. Like I said before, Miss McCall is at away games, home games. That's our principal, Miss McCall. Dr. Harrison is at the basketball game. It's just nice to see the support. And then when you're in the hallways, you every night, coach, what time you play, or we'll be there. You got baseball players coming to support us. You got all other sport teams coming to support us. Volleyball coaches. I mean, it's just like one big family.
That's
just
awesome.
Really one lounge.
That is awesome. Well, Coach, listen, best of luck Saturday afternoon. Hoping that you guys get another W so we can keep this Lowndes girls basketball train rolling. And so
Yes,
with that, listen, I want to make sure that I thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule preparing for another playoff game by congratulating you on a fine season. But, Coach, I got to congratulate you on something else. You've been recognized by your peers as the Coach of the Year for Region 17A. And so we all knew how good of a basketball coach you are, but it's great to see your peers recognize that as well. So with that said, well done, Coach.
Oh, thanks so much. And that's not done by myself. I have a good coaching staff behind me, and I definitely got to give them credit.
Absolutely.
It's not done by myself, and I also have those great players that I just talked about.
Absolutely. Well, best of luck Saturday afternoon, Coach, and let's talk soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Man, listen. Those three interviews that we just got through doing, James Gatlin, Reshon Benjamin, Antonia Tukes, those were fun interviews. I got to say, I'm so glad to be back talking about not just Lowndes football, but Lowndes basketball, the community in general. Now we got the Pop Warner football programs on play. So really, really fun night. So I want to make sure that we recognize some of these basketball players on the all-region team that we recognize. You know, the coaches talked about them, but I want to make sure that they get the recognition that they are due. Because, you know, we are often known as a football-friendly program, and so sometimes we overlook some of these other fantastic programs that we have. So when these kids really go out of their way to excel, and these coaches, we want to make sure we recognize them. So first of all, congratulations once again to Coach Antonia Tukes and Reshon Benjamin for being named Coach of the Year, Region 17A. So in the girls basketball side, we got, Defensive Player of the Year, Casey Demps. First team selection, Region 17A is Ariana Thomas. Otafo Essen. I know Coach Tukes told me how to say this, but I just cannot pronounce her last name. I think it's Isana Bolu, I think. I'm sorry for messing up your name, but she's an outstanding player at Lowndes High School. For the second team selection, you've got Kamora Wade, Faith Johnson, and then you've got, the boys team. You got Player of the Year, DeMarcus Black. Reshon Benjamin was the Coach of the Year. The Impact Player of the Year is Samuel Shoptaw. First team all region, you got Landon New. Great to see Landon having an outstanding year. Coach Benjamin was talking about, he barely got any starts last year, but you got Landon just having an outstanding year, named to the first team all region team. The second team, you got Reuben Compton. So congratulations to Reuben Compton. I know that his parents have got to be over the moon. Personal friends of mine, Robert and Trisha Compton. Trisha is a fellow Berrien High graduate, so I'm so proud of Reuben Compton. Honorable mentions for boys basketball, Jeremiah Henderson, Romulus Khalil, and Kashawn Author. So congratulations, and I apologize if I missed anybody. Wasn't my intent, so I want to make sure I congratulate all these fine student athletes making the Region 17A all-region basketball team. So, guys, we've had a good night. Before we get out of here tonight, though, we're running a little bit over time, so stick with me. Stick with me. I want to make sure that we recognize some of these other things before we get going tonight. And one of the things that I wanted to some of you have seen some videos of the new turf that's being laid down at the Concrete Palace. So I want to put a brief video on that. This is courtesy of Lowndes Vikings football. And check this out. Man, it looks like kind of an updated color scheme. You know, the old turf, I got to admit, we were getting closer and closer to red, right? But this newer turf they're laying down, it looks like a return to a true crimson. So really, really glad to see that. Check this out. Look at that. Look at the lettering. Man, have you noticed the two-tone panels as well? You know, it used to be all just one color scheme all the way down the field. It looks like they've got in 5-yard increments a separation of darker green versus lighter green. And so it's going to be sharp. Can't wait till we get to see this in person at the inter-squad scrimmage at the end of the spring season this year. So really looking forward to that. So to hear about that was the word that I was looking for, two-tone. So the indoor practice facility is also ready to go. So we'll get some videos of that to show them on next week's show. So really looking forward to the year ahead with Lowndes football and Lowndes athletics in general. Georgia Coach Trainer says, listen, I'm fine with a 2-hour show, LG. Maybe so. Maybe that's coming. Maybe that's part of the rebranding. So stay tuned, Georgia Coach Trainer. Hey, listen, I may reach out to you. If we go to 2 hours, we're going to have to get a lot of content added to the show. And so we may reach out to some of you guys to help us supplement some of this content that we want to deliver. So trust me, guys, we've got a lot of really, really cool things that we're going to be doing. I kind of touched on it last week. Was I have decided to move full speed ahead with the new football platform. That I really shouldn't call it a football platform. It's going to be it's almost going to be a local community athletic platform. And I can't give you any more details than that because I do have competitors that like to watch this show to get ideas, because I've noticed some of them and have started trying to copy some of the things that we do. And that's fine. But I want to make sure that I don't give away too many details until we're ready to roll out this thing too. Because listen, at this organization, and that's what we are now. The Viking Nation is an organization. It's not just one person anymore. And it's going to be a growing organization. I'll roll out the details as we go along. Listen, this thing is, I'm hoping, going to go big time. And so we're making the investment. And when I say investment, that's what I mean. We are making the investment. And it's not a cheap one either, to build out this new platform that I'm talking about. So I'm hoping that in the coming weeks and a couple months down the road that I'll be hopefully ready to roll out version 1.0 of this thing. And I'm going to be calling on some of you guys to listen. Let me just take that back. I'll be calling on all of you. If you have an idea of features of this new platform that you want me to include, some of the things that are going to be a given, I'm going to include schedules on there and forums and things that fans would normally expect. A few weeks ago, I put on the Viking Nation. I kind of put out an appeal to you guys to give me the names of former Lowndes graduates that have gone on to the college level and what program they're with now. Because I'm building a database of all, because fans want to know these things. I want to know these things when I talk about our program and its history. I want to know at my fingertips, look up Lowndes baseball, which players went to college, what teams did they play for, what years were those, Lowndes football, Lowndes basketball. So I want to be able to easily go to a database, find that information, and then deliver it to you guys. And so I want to make that accessible to you guys as well. I don't want you to have to rely on me for more information. If you want the information, should be able to log into this new platform. I did say log in. It's going to be a membership. Don't worry. I'm not going to charge anything for it. So it's going to be a membership driven thing. So you log in, you get the information that you want, and then you have it. So that's the kind of thing that we are building, and we are going to build this thing. We are. And it's going to be unlike anything that anyone's ever done around here. And I think you'll like it. I really do. So with that said, one more thing. I want to make sure I recognize these guys, because we do have something new in this community. We've got some new coaches. We got some new coaches. Well, first of all, I did chuckle when Lowndes football released some images of some coaches that were being hired. And so when I saw some familiar names and faces on the screen, and it said, "Welcome back, Terry Quinn," and it's like, wait a minute. Did the coach Quinn leave? No. So they're just having fun with the wording and that kind of stuff. So Terry Quinn, officially, according to Lowndes football, welcome back. Coach Quinn is going to be coaching the linebacker. No, not linebackers, but what am I talking about? The cornerbacks. So that's going to be changed. I think did Coach Demps coach the cornerbacks last year? Well, speaking of Coach Demps, he's going to be coaching the safeties this year. So we don't have all the position coaches yet. This is a new name, and that is Sam Rogers. He's going to be coaching the offensive line. So welcome to the Lowndes community and to the Viking Nation, Sam Rogers. Ashley Anders returns as defensive coordinator, coach of the linebackers for the Lowndes football program. Matthew Garris joins the coaching staff as well, coaching linebackers. Don Bailey is going to be your new offensive coordinator. So a lot of things happening. A lot of things happening in Lowndes football. And those weren't all the coaches. That was just a handful that I just jotted down. So next week's show, we'll go into more of the names, that kind of stuff. So some of you are saying, might as well go to 2 hours. Tierra Battle says, might as well go to 8:30 now. I love it. So yeah. Candace Marie says, love the hype video. So, Chase Garnto, he's usually on, but his family's got some issues, some health things they're working through. So I think everything's going to be fine there. So, but Chase is really, really big on hype videos, Candace, and he's been talking to me all off season. We got to get hype videos. So Chase is going to be our point person, I think, for getting these hype videos produced and getting content, and I'm going to obviously help him with that kind of stuff, but he's going to be our point person in getting those. So we're building out our organization, and we're assigning duties and that kind of stuff. So there's exciting things happening with the Viking Nation. Really looking forward to sharing the rebrand with you guys. That's going to be coming pretty soon. So be patient with that. So I also want to end the show tonight by thanking our sponsors. Our fantastic sponsors. I don't want to miss any of these guys. So you guys know them by now, right? Pepsi of Valdosta. You got White Oak Investment, Kyle Conger. You got A Shade of Perfection with Tim Neesmith, Josh Batson and Justin Haskin with the Valdosta Migraine and Spine Clinic, Matthew Godwin at Verizon Wireless on Perimeter Road, Steve Nichols, Freedom with Steve Nichols, and Chandler Kudik, our newest sponsor, and he's got a company called, there you go, AquaWorks. He's so new, I kind of forgot the name there. AquaWorks Pool Company. So give these guys a call if you have a need for their products or services. So with that said, guys, I got to go get something to eat because I'm hungry. Been a long day, but it's been worth it. It's been worth it. So with that said, as always, may God bless you. Tell someone that you love them. Tell them that you're praying for them. And always say, go Vikings.